Hey guys, Zach from Unrivaled, and today I'm going to go over installing a UB muzzle device, and this particular one is UB556, so we've got an AR-15. This goes the same for the 308 and the 7.62-39. So the first thing is it's in a upper receiver jig. You don't have to do this, but it makes your job a lot easier. We're going to open up the package, and we have our instruction card. We have the muzzle brake, some set screws, and a couple of these are vented screws, meaning it's just got a small hole as an aperture in case you want to go in between a full hole or an open hole. We have some blue thread locker and an Allen wrench to install the screws. Okay, at this point you should have your gun down to bare threads. If not, remove your old muzzle device. And today we're going to be using a crush washer. We do prefer shims. They're just going to be a bit more concentric, and we want things to be as perfect as they can be. We do sell the Precision Armament AccuWasher shim kits. That's our favorite, but you don't have to stick to that. And if you really want to use a crush washer, that's fine. If you do use a crush washer, you see how it has a flare to it. We want to put the small end back towards the gun and the bigger end going towards the crown of the barrel. And we're just going to thread on our brake. All right. And we're going to have to go really far with this one. Sometimes that happens, but no big deal. All right, and then we're gonna line this up, and I kind of like to look down, almost like I'm aiming, and I'm gonna try to get those top ports perfectly aligned with the top of that receiver and the gas tube. If you want, you can also put a bubble level on this surface too. I don't really think it's necessary, but some people like to do that, and it actually looks really good. So right there, we're now going to add in our adjustment screws. You don't have to do this. You can do this at the range, but this is our preferred way to do it. So we'll actually put a little bit of thread locker in these holes right here. All right. And we are going to open up our set screws, and there's a couple reasons to do this now. One is we're just gonna let the thread locker set up, so that way when we're at the range, it's already tacky and we can just remove things a little easier without having to mess with it. And then two, we don't have to worry about these blowing away on a range table or bench or something. We can do it right here home in a controlled environment. And the thread locker, it just needs to hold the screws long enough for the carbon to build up, and it kind of, I don't want to say carbon lock, because even if you shoot thousands of rounds and you want to readjust this, you can still just use your wrench and break it free. But the carbon is really what adheres them after, a few mags or so, not the thread locker. Okay, so the UB brake has a total of 8 ports in it. There's 5 high pressure, 3 low pressure. So we ship this thing with, I'd say probably 10 solid screws, and you can see that it's just a solid plug. And we throw in 2 or 3 what we call vented set screws, and you can see there's a hole that goes all the way through that. These are rarely used, but if you're kind of in between having a port open and a port closed and you're going back and forth, it's kind of, halfway there, you can put one of these in. We're not going to worry about those for now. We're just going to get these solid ones, and we're also going to add thread locker to the screw itself. We have a little bit in the hole, and that's just going to ensure that everything is covered in thread locker. We'll put that in about flush, and once they're all in, we'll go back, we'll wipe that excess off. Okay, so we got our UB brake installed, we got our set screws installed, and we're just gonna let that set up. Even if we want to go to the range right now, that would be no big deal at all. What is important is we're gonna save our extra screws, our vented screws just in case, and we're gonna, our thread locker, our wrench, and our instruction card, and we're gonna bring this to the range. So when we go shoot this thing, it's gonna have a lot less recoil than it did before because of the brake, but we're not going to have any of these ports providing any thrust to compensate for recoil. So when I go shoot this, I'm right-handed. It's probably going to climb high and right a little bit, so I'll probably end up messing with some combination of these screws on the top and right, and we'll be showing you that at the range. All right, so there's a couple methods to tune these compensation plugs. One way would just be set a target, maybe 15, 25 yards, put some pasters on it as an aiming point, and aim at one, do a double tap, see where the second round goes. Kyle and I don't like that as much versus just picking something to aim at, like a spot on the berm, a rock, a long-range steel target, or medium range offhand, and just gonna hold the gun neutrally, but not applying any crazy force or anything, but not too loose, and fire a shot, and then wherever the gun ends up, I'm gonna just make a mental note of that, and I'm gonna take out plugs to vector the gun down. So I use two types of ammo primarily. I have my cheap 55 grain hoser. PMC bronze is pretty good for that. Shoots soft enough, okay accuracy. And then my long range precision ammo is a Supervel 77 grain SMKs. I'm gonna tune the gun for my hoser ammo, and my logic is that's what I'm always shooting offhand. When I'm using this stuff, very likely I'm in a prone or some type of supported position. So whatever I do here isn't gonna matter as much as the offhand stuff. And we've got a target, a pretty big target, honestly, for this at 50. So I'm just going to aim for the top of the head. And it doesn't even matter what, like, if the bullet hits, if the gun's zeroed, whatever. I'm just looking for the dot movement. So the movement isn't much at all. And part of that is I'm running the 16.69 barrel, our titanium ultralight carrier, the comp buffer, and the UB brakes. So this is just as good as it gets, but there is a subtle 1 o'clock movement. So I'm gonna unload the gun because we don't want any accidents messing with this brake. And we're gonna pull out all our parts we saved from the install. And since it's coming up high right, I'm just gonna take this port out. Whoops. So that's pretty damn good. It's slightly downwards for me, so I'm gonna use an aperture plug and get really autistic about this. And that's why we include usually 2 or 3 of those in it. Pretty rare. It's usually for something like this, where it's like best of the best, lowest recoil parts. If this was like a mil spec operating system, very likely I would just be using those course adjustments. All right, and we've already got some thread locker in there. And like I said earlier, we're installing it. The thread locker, it's not to hold this in long term, it's just to hold this in for that first 60 to 90 rounds, and then the carbon itself is going to really lock those screws in. They'll still be removable later, but they're never going to come out on their own on accident once you get a few mags through the gun. Hot. These are hard to start. There we go. Cool. Okay, so that last double, my gun's shooting a little bit to the left, so I'm going to re-zero it now that we have different muzzle device on. But you see, that's at 50 yards, and I mean, that stacked them within an inch or two, that body shot, and that's me holding the gun neutral. So that's where I want it to be, and that's where I'm going to leave it. And occasionally we get people asking us, like, hey, what ports do I remove, or like something like that, and it's just different for everybody. Even like this same exact gun, me and Kyle, it's different. Whenever I pick up his gun, it actually pushes it a little bit for me. So it's like, we're not all robots, automatons or something. Everyone's just different. We all hold the gun differently. And also, realistically, all of our guns are a little bit different too. Ammo's different. So that's the beauty of the system. You can adjust that compensation and get it perfect for you.